Rampage World Tour was released on the PlayStation in late September of 1997. The game was later ported to the Sega Saturn and Nintendo 64 in the following months. The game was published by Midway and had different developers for each platform. The arcade and PlayStation versions were developed by Game Refugee, a scrappy game developer that was founded by the creators of the original Rampage. The plot has the three monsters, George, Lizzie, and Ralph, escaping from scumbags' facilities due to an explosion. The trio go on a rampage across the world, taking out any city with Scum Lab bases. Rampage World Tour's gameplay is similar to the original game, where the goal of each level is to destroy all the buildings while avoiding as much damage as possible. Rather than the single-screen levels of the original game, World Tour gives you the ability to walk left or right, with the city repeating if you go far enough in either direction. There are multiple ways of attacking a building. You can punch out all the windows as you climb up, slam to the side of it with your feet, jump on top of it and slam down, or jump on the top and punch the building down. No one move really works much better than the others, but I always found it fastest to climb on top of a building and punch downward. As you take out a building, power-ups and poison items might appear. Power-ups can range from food that'll restore your health, or buffs that'll allow you to take out buildings much faster. The various poison items will cause you to vomit, which will reduce your health slightly. Rampage World Tour is fun, however it's not without its problems. The game offers very little in terms of variation from level to level, and although the enemies do become more abundant and harder the further you progress, the game really starts to drag on with the numerous stages and easy difficulty. The game has unlimited continues, and you respawn without restarting the stage, so the game has no real punishment for death, unless you're playing the arcade version, which will just cost you more money if you die. The best two descriptions of this game is that the game is repetitive and mind-numbing. However, despite these problems, the game really is actually quite a bit of fun to play for short stints, especially in multiplayer mode. However, attempting to complete the game just isn't something worth doing despite it being easy to do. Between the two versions of the game that I've played, the PlayStation and the N64 versions, each version has its strong points. Graphically and musically, the PlayStation version is superior, however the control scheme is pretty bad on this version. The Nintendo 64 version has much better control scheme, however it does fall behind the PlayStation version in both graphics and sound. Graphically, Rampage World Tour has aged pretty well compared to many early polygonal titles that were released in the late 90s. Many of the sprites appear to be reused from level to level, which is unfortunate, but the game is bright and colorful and is really pleasing to the eyes. It's also noticeably higher quality in terms of sprite work than most, if not all, 16-bit sprite-based games. The game's music is pretty good, although there aren't that many tracks. The majority of the game has fast-paced metal music, which fits the game nicely. The soundtrack isn't especially memorable or great, but it does work well with the game. The price of this game varies drastically depending on which console you're looking at getting it on, with the PlayStation release being the cheapest, around $5 with the case. A loose Nintendo 64 version is going to run about $11, and the Sega Saturn version is a little bit over $20. So the version I would recommend getting would be the PlayStation version, since it's the best value and it has the best graphics and music. Overall, Rampage World Tour is a fun, although hopelessly repetitive game. It's worth checking out for its multiplayer and can be a fun game if you want to waste about a half hour. The game's repetitive stages and easy difficulty quickly become the game's downfall and make it hard to play for longer sessions. I think Rampage World Tour is worth checking out, but don't expect too much from this game.